Welcome back to On Tap Bet. He's Joey Ricotta. I'm Iowa Zach, and we've got a good rundown of games to talk about tonight. But before we do, I want to remind you guys that On Tap Sportsnet has a partnership with Bet Rivers. And part of that partnership means that our listeners can get a free first-time deposit match of up to $250 just by going to betrivers.com and entering promo code ONTAP. That's betrivers.com, promo code ONTAP. Joey, how you doing tonight, man? It's a little bit of a on-tap bets after dark. I know we're pushing 12:30. Yeah.
It's late.
How you feeling tonight?
It's late, man, but I'm good. I got my my Great Lakes beer here. It's filling the void. It's late, obviously, but I think my girlfriend was puzzled as to why we weren't already on here when she got home from work. Fine, man. It's all good. I think the later the better, especially on the weekend. So hopefully we have some fun tonight. Yeah,
for sure. I geared up pretty big for this one tonight. The wife and I, once in a while we like to dip into the cocktails, and I didn't show you this before the show, but tonight was martini night.
Ooh.
At the Iowa Zach house, Joey. So
very nice.
I'm rocking a gin martini tonight. Usually I'm sipping on some whiskey here, but got a martini. Made the wife some lemon drops tonight. We were tearing it up. So I'm ready to go.
I'm down with that. You're looking all classy as ever, and you got your little martini glass there, and keep making the wife happy. And
hell yes,
you can't beat that. I like that. I wish I was over there right now, and so I could get a little some of that. I haven't had a martini in like a long time. I don't even know what they taste like anymore.
Oh man. So I'm a gin martini guy. I started with vodka. I always drank vodka martinis, and then I switched to the gin martinis, and I've never gone back. The wife, she's not big into the liquors, so I make her the lemon drops. They're very sweet. For all the guys out there, if you want to make your way through the world, learn how to make a lemon drop martini to impress the ladies. I'm telling you, it works. So that's my tip of the day.
Bartender Iowa Zach tip of the day.
Next time you're over, Joey, I'll spin you up some martinis.
Well, you can teach me how to do it too. Then I can keep mine happy too.
There you go. All right. So, in the last few weeks, we've had a nice rhythm, Joey, of talking college on Thursday, NFL on Friday. We didn't get a chance to meet last night. So I do want to kick off this week talking a little bit about the college slate. Honestly, I think you and I can both agree the slate this week kind of sucks. There's not a bunch of great games. But I think we both, we found some games we like. And I know there's one that we both want to talk about, and that's 13 Auburn at number 14 Texas A&M. Texas A&M laying 4.5 on this one. The over under is 50 on this one. Go ahead and tell me your play on this one, Auburn at A&M.
Yeah. So before we hopped on here, I think I told you a little bit about kind of how I approach this week. It's the same as I do every week, but there was one slight change. So what I did this week is I took power ratings from 5 different spots. ATL power ratings, which is Thor Nystrom's power ratings. SP Plus, which is Football Outsiders. It's more a predictive model. And then F Plus, which is also Football Outsiders, but that's not really as predictive. It's just kind of what's happened. And then I also use Action Network's power ratings and Team Rankings power ratings. But what I did was I used the same. I just took where they had the teams ranked as far as their power ratings, and then I used the one specific power rating as far as a number calculation for the spread. So like if that one said Texas A&M, they're 13, and the power rating said that that's worth 33, and then let's say Auburn was 21 and Auburn was worth 25 points. You subtract those two, and then to me, whoever has home field advantage, what I did was they get a 2.5 point advantage. So these teams, so that's just kind of the way I did this. It was just kind of a quick little outline of how I did this week, but also I do my own research and come up with what I think as well. You can't just go off of those numbers, but it's a nice little guideline I found at least.
I like it.
And I did I averaged out all of those 5 to come up with my own like consensus ranking. But so this week for this game, Auburn and A&M, I found slight value with Auburn. So minus 3.2 was what the consensus was what Texas A&M should be, is minus 3.12, which basically you can round that and say it's minus 3, right? So if A&M's minus 4.5, it's a little bit of a value on Auburn, but I had to dig deeper. So I'm looking at this, and the only matchup this week is, as we said, this week sucks. Sucks compared to last week too. Like last week was one of those weeks where we're just like fucking hyped. Get the weekend started. Let's watch all these games all day long. That's all we want to do. And of course, it's Halloween weekend, so they had to put all the best games on Halloween weekend. When like people like you, Zach, you got kids, you got pumpkin patches to go to. Why do they do this? I don't understand. The next week they give us nothing. I don't get it. But whatever. It'd still be fun. Of course, it's always gonna be fun. But we know all that means nothing with these two ranked teams. Like these are the only two ranked teams facing each other this week. But it really means nothing because like the college football polls came out and the first playoff polls rankings with the college football playoff committee, and just some real surprises there. We'll get into that later, I'm sure. The Tigers are 69th in the nation against the pass, but 36th against the run, and that could make life tough for A&M, the ground attack. Auburn is 25th in scoring defense, 19.8 points per game. Tank Bigsby, he had a big game last week, and they'll need that here against A&M, I think. Problem is A&M is very good against the run, only 3.7 yards per carry allowed. Calzada's been playing better, but to be honest with you, I don't trust him still. Like, it was just a couple weeks ago we were talking about this dude being trash, and I don't think he's figured it out that much yet to be trusting him here. And I know he's at home, and Bo Nix on the road, we've talked about him sucking on the road, but he's been better this year. So, and A&M runs the ball pretty well. They're 41st in rushing yards per game. Auburn has a better run-stopping unit than A&M even, only 3.5 yards per carry allowed. So, now to me, what it really comes down to is which quarterback do I trust more in this situation? Even though it's a road game for Auburn, I know it's at College Station. I trust Bo Nix more. So, plus, you're going to give me over a field goal and a little bit more, plus 4.5. The best play to me, because of how much these teams run the ball and how good they actually are, or how good they actually are on defense and running and stopping the run. I actually love the under here, so that's my best play. But I do like Auburn as well. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm playing Auburn plus the points. I mean, Auburn impressed me last week. I picked Mississippi. I picked Ole Miss to cover that spread, and they didn't deliver. Auburn handled them with a 9-point win. I mean, this A&M defense is really good. 16.1 points allowed per game is fifth best in the country. But as good as that A&M defense is, they still allow over 130 yards per game. Auburn's rush game has been elite this year, 197 yards per game. You look at the matchups between these two teams. Auburn's won 3 of the last 5. I like Auburn. I'll take the points. Yeah. Not much more to add to that.
Let's do it.
Okay. Now I know each of us kind of dialed in on a couple of games we like, and the others free to chime in. I'm going to start one of my favorite plays this week. Number 3, Michigan State, laying 3 against Purdue. Over under on this one is 54. Michigan State last week, man, hard fought battle against Michigan. They ended up winning that game as 4.5-point dogs, scored 15 points in the fourth quarter to win that game. Kenneth Walker went off 197 yards, 5 TDs against Michigan's defense. Purdue has allowed at least 120 yards in 6 of their 8 games this year, and 297 against Wisconsin. I'm going to keep it simple. I think Kenneth Walker III is going to have another huge week on the road at Purdue. I'm laying the points, taking Michigan State. That's one of my plays for college. You muted, Joe.
Yes. Oh, boy. We forgot about the mute buttons over here.
The mute button.
Don't hit the vape. Yeah, so that's the reason why I hit the mute button. Anyways, keeping it short and simple like you did, I like Michigan State. I think they continue to cruise here, even with Aiden O'Connell, who he can have good games. Obviously, we saw him like that against Iowa. Then David Bell is a top-notch receiver, probably going to the NFL draft, obviously. Walker's he's putting himself in this Heisman candidate position now. He was a candidate before, but now he's actually in the conversation, even though running backs don't normally win the award. He actually has a legit shot now. So many people are looking at this as a letdown spot for Michigan State after the big win. I don't see it that way. I think they roll here. I'm with you.
I'm with you. Yep, absolutely. What's your first best play in college?
Oh, I guess I'll start with Tennessee and Kentucky. Consensus, like I was doing those rankings and then averaging them out. The average I got was Tennessee by less than a point. So it's Tennessee -1 here is the actual spread. So it's basically -1 was my consensus. It's right on the dot, right? But I looked a little bit deeper, and I think obviously that's what you need to do here to find an edge in any game. But I give you credit because you were right about Kentucky versus Mississippi State. Will Rodgers, hats off to you because you called that game. Will Rodgers was very good, 36 of 39, 344 yards. The other Will, Kentucky's Will, not so much. Will Levis threw 3 picks in that game. So, it was obviously the worst game of the year for him. He needs to bounce back here and play more like he did versus LSU and even Georgia, really, even though they lost that game. Getting running back Chris Rodriguez going, that's got to be the key here for Kentucky's success. If they can get him going and they can chew up clock, I mean, most of the time when he's rolling, that's when they have the most success. And the Vols keep the Vols offense off the field. I mean, they've been pretty good this year under Hendon Hooker, who he makes his bunch go, really. He's got a good arm. He's got some weapons. He's got some good run ability, actually, too. Over 100 yards rushing versus Ole Miss, and he averages 52 per game on the ground as a quarterback. So what's concerning for me, though, is Tennessee is 125th in sack percentage allowed. That's not great. Good news is Tennessee is 43rd on defense in rushing yards per carry allowed. So I think they can slow down Chris Rodriguez here and this Wildcats run game. And I'm going to go with the better quarterback, in my opinion, which is Hooker. So I'm laying the points here or money line, depending on, maybe this line gets back to pick 'em. If you want whatever, toss in something else, lay a little bit of juice. I like Tennessee here. I like the Vols.
Okay, that's interesting. Kentucky's been such a fun team to watch, and for me, a big question. I just didn't really know what I'm getting with them, so I like that play. It is tough. I want to play Kentucky so bad on this one. I'm not sure where I'm landing yet, but I like your analysis there. You got me questioning where I was originally falling.
Well, maybe you were the one that, because last week I was like, I like this Kentucky team. There was something about this Kentucky team.
And I know. Now we're flip flop.
Now we're flip flop. So maybe you're just the guy that knows this Kentucky team, and I just like them. I don't know.
I wouldn't give me that much credit, Joey. All right. One of my other favorite picks this week, I got to play on Indiana at Michigan. Number 7, Michigan. Michigan laying 20.5 on this. The over-under is 50.5. Listen, this is a lot of points in a Big Ten matchup, but this is a bad Indiana team this year. 110th in points per game, 105th in points allowed. I mean, they're just on both sides of the ball, just failing. They throw for just over 200 yards, 202 yards a game with Penix Jr. They've relied on the run all year for any success that they've achieved, which is not very much. I mean, 2 wins on the season. Michigan's too good against the run this week. I think Michigan, on the flip side, is going to run all over these guys on a porous Indiana defense. This is going to be a blowout game. The money is huge on Michigan, too, on this, like 70 to 80%. I'm laying the points. I'm taking Michigan in a blowout, 27, 30-some points. Michigan had a tough loss last week. they're ready to bounce back and show the playoff committee that they're still in this, I'll lay the points to take Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. We saw what happened when Indiana played good defenses, like Iowa, Penn State, and even Michigan State, right? I mean, they just can't do much. So maybe Michigan comes out and thumps them here. I think that's the most realistic thing to happen. My line that I did with the consensus had, it's gross as fuck. I had Indiana. It should be minus 18 for Michigan. But there's no way I'm betting Indiana here. So I was really curious to hear what you had on this game. So I like your pick there.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with Michigan in a bounce back spot this week. Blowout game. All right, you got one more game for us, right? I'm curious to hear your play on this next one.
Yeah, I had a little rant here. We were talking about the college football playoff committee. The first college football playoff rankings of the season came out on Tuesday. Little rant here. UTSA deserves more respect. I mean, how do they get left off the college football playoff rankings? Everyone's talking about the injustice done to Cincinnati. What about the Roadrunners? I mean, they put up at least 45 points in each of their last 3 games. They're 8-0. Granted, they don't play the most competitive of teams. Like, they don't play the best competition. But this team literally is the 15th ranked team in the AP poll, the AP top 25 poll, and they get left off of the college football playoff rankings. Doesn't make sense to me. Just goes to show you how much the polls mean. Jack squat, like we've already said, just doesn't mean anything. Using the projection systems that I was and then coming up with the consensus, I average them out. UTSA should be about 13.5-point favorite here. And I think they will win this game. I would have still taken them at 13.5. I think they will win this game by 2 touchdowns. So if you're going to give me 11.5, minus 11.5 for UTSA, I mean, I'm taking them because both teams, they do a good job protecting the quarterback near the bottom in sack rate. Both teams do a good job of getting to the quarterback, though. UTSA, 19th in sack rate. UTEP is 36th. What helps both teams, though, to me is the run. They run the football a ton. Very high run play percentage on both sides, and they do it well. That tells me, though, with both defenses playing well right now, both are top 30 units of points per game allowed, and both stop the run well. UTSA allows the 3rd fewest rushing yards per game. UTEP allows the 10th fewest per game. 100 yards. Both are under 100 yards per game allowed. Give me the quarterback that's turning the ball over less. Frank Harris, the senior. Running back Sincere McCormick, he's doing a good job. I like the Roadrunners here. McCormick has rushed for over 100 yards in every game but 2 this season. And meanwhile, on the other side for UTEP, Gavin Hardison, he's had trouble protecting it lately. Last 3 games, he's thrown 2 touchdowns and had 4 interceptions. So UTSA actually takes the ball away, too. Over the last 3 games, they average 2 picks per game, and they're a top 20 unit overall in interceptions per game for the whole season. So laying the points with UTSA, and I actually love the under, too, for under 53 because it's going to be they're going to be running the ball a lot in this game.
Yeah, I love laying the points. That I'm totally with you on that. I mean, this is a great UTSA team. 11th in the country, Joey, 39.4 points per game. Yeah. Now, your argument about them being ranked is difficult again with the strength of schedule. I mean, they've played one Power 5 team, and that was Illinois week 1, and they beat them. Other than that, it's just a lot of no-name guys. So it's tough. It's a tough argument. You're right. 8-0, very, very impressive the way they've been playing. That's a discussion for another time, but I do like to play to lay the points. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I mean, it's hard to I see the argument on both sides. I don't want to see this team play like a legit contender team. I don't want to see them in the college football playoff, but at least put some respect on their name. Put them up there. You know what I mean? They're doing what they have to do. That's all. I think this is a big fuck you game for them, though. You know what I mean? Like, not seeing the name on there, this is a big fuck you game for them. Let's lay the points with them.
Yeah, I could see that. Good call. All right. Good plays there. All right. We're going to transition to some NFL now. Much better slate in the NFL than we have in college football. I think you'd agree, Joe. I'm going to start with the Vikings at Ravens. Ravens laying 6 on this one. Over under is 50. I'll start here. I just feel like this is a really bad matchup for the Vikings, to be honest. Baltimore, I mean, you're looking at Baltimore, the third best rushing team in the league at 149 yards per game. On the flip side, Minnesota currently allowing 120 yards per game and a fourth worst 4.6 yards per carry. To me, that is a big difference. I mean, Minnesota, the pass defense has been good. They're third in pass DVOA. But you look at last week, I mean, 360 yards and 2 touchdowns allowed to a Cooper Rush-led Cowboys. That's concerning for me. Minnesota's got a couple of injuries this week, a couple concerning injuries. Michael Pierce, their defensive tackle, out on defense. Anthony Barr's questionable, limited practice last 2 days. Minnesota can pass the ball. I do like what Kirk Cousins has been doing. Over 1,950 yards, 14 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. He's been very efficient this year. But they're inconsistent. 16th in Football Outsiders variance rating, which is an inconsistency rating, and how much they can replicate those results week after week. I'm taking Baltimore on this, laying the points. The money's with me. They're getting 77% of the money right now. Curious on your thoughts on this one, Joe.
So I'm with you. I'm not taking the Vikings in this spot. It's not something I've actually bet yet on the Ravens side, which, I mean, it's probably a good idea to do it soon, I would imagine. But yeah, that's the side that I would be on. I actually have a prop for this game, though. So it's not what I actually came up with for, this game, but I do like the Ravens. Bears on tap, guys. They always say this, the shitbaggers, the shitbagger props or whatever the fuck. I'm going to go ahead and say this is a shitbagger. Assuming he means like this, a plus money bet, that they mean this, that's what they mean. That's how I took it anyways. The Ravens are allowing the third most receptions per game to opposing tight ends. Just over 6.5 per game. And they also allow the most receiving yards per game to them and are tied for the most touchdowns to tight ends. So Tyler Conklin, he's been getting more involved, and he's caught at least 4 passes in 4 of 7 games this season, 4 of 7 games that he's played. He had 5 for 57 on 7 targets last week and 3 for 71 on 5 targets the week before. So I think the Vikings attack this defense with Conklin and use him in some form as part of their game plan. I don't know what it is, but I think they're going to try to get him the ball, and I think they should be able to. And I think he goes over his receiving yards, 31.5, 32.5, whatever you can find it at right now. It looks like that's what it's at on most books. But I'm also taking a shot at his catches, and that's where the shitbagger prop comes in, because his catches, over 3.5 catches, is plus 121 over at our friends at Bet Rivers. So plus 120 odds, over 3.5 catches. I think he gets that. And I think, it's a decent payout.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good play. All right. Browns at Bengals. Bengals laying 2.5 this week in the Ohio Showdown. Over under is 47. I'm going to let you start with this one, Joey.
Yeah, I mean, say what you want about Baker Mayfield. And, I think Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad, it sounds like he was saying plenty about him. There's times where he can get it done, right? I mean, I don't know if this is one of those times, but Cincinnati's defense has been better against the run this year than the past. 17th in pass DVOA compared to 10th against rushing, 10th in rush DVOA defense. And that offense has been putting up points with Joe Burrow and those receivers. With OBJ out of the picture, someone is going to have to catch the ball and make some plays here. I mean, Jarvis Landry seems like the most logical option to me. His target share is already high when in the games that he's in the games that he plays and he's involved, not hurt, obviously. His target share is high. So I'm taking Jarvis Landry over. I don't even know what the heck his receiving yards was because I forgot to write it down. I think it was 55.5 minus 114, if I can remember right. But I already bet this. And it's only going to go up because there's plenty of people that I believe will be on this play with OBJ out of the picture now.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, OBJ's out, right? And that may be for the best. I mean, that was nothing but a distraction. I mean, he was catching ball. I mean, that is a very good receiver. Jarvis Landry can certainly step in and fill that. Now, he was limited a little bit early this week in practice, but he full practice today, so I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, ultimately, the Browns are still the best rushing team in the league with Nick Chubb. I mean, especially now that Derrick Henry's out. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
They were held in check last week, just 65 yards last week against Pittsburgh, but they keyed in on the rush in that game. Pittsburgh is a much better team against the rush than Cincinnati. I shouldn't say much better, but they are better. And when you look at Cleveland's trajectory all year, they've had a couple down games and they bounced back significantly after those games. The one thing I'll point out is Baker Mayfield will get Njoku back this week. I think Jarvis Landry is going to be a good target, but I think Njoku is going to be even bigger. The Bengals are 15th in the league against in yards against tight ends. They struggled to defend the tight ends. I'm taking Cleveland. I'll take the points, 2.5. I think Cincinnati's actually going to have trouble scoring points against this. They just lost to the Jets. And that Cincinnati offense really hasn't shown me much. Bottom 10 in rushing. They're certainly not going to rush against this game or against this Cleveland defense. And I'm not really too concerned about Burrow in the pass game. I'll take the points on this.
I am so scared for you. Lord have willing. These two teams are pretty equal though. Like like as far as defense and running the football, better on the Cleveland side, like you said. That's how they're going to win the game, and they can win the game that way. So this is going to be a fun one to watch. I really like the Bengals too in this spot. I don't know why. Maybe it's home field.
Yeah. Yep. The home field gave me pause for concern.
But we've seen it not really matter also as much as it has been. So in recent years. So yeah, I mean, Cleveland's probably the better overall team. I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't mind this pick.
That's what I'm banking on. All right, Chargers laying 1.5 at the Eagles this week. Total in this game is 49.5. Chargers coming off back-to-back losses against New England and Baltimore. I mean, ultimately, both of these teams are going to run the ball all over each other. Philadelphia in this season, 4th in rushing DVOA between Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. Between their quarterback and their true running back have just been running it all over the place. And then you've got the Chargers, which are 6th with Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler was a little bit banged up this week, but he had full practice this week for anybody who saw that, or had full practice Friday for anybody who was concerned about that. I'm not worried about that injury. On the flip side, both these guys absolutely just get gashed against the run. Philadelphia, 22nd in the league in defensive DVOA against the rush. And the Chargers, 32nd, dead last in the league. So this is going to be a hand the ball off and watch these guys go. If they do need to pass, I'll say that the Chargers have what I see as a pretty clear edge in this. I mean, Justin Herbert against a 12th ranked pass defense with the Eagles. And the Chargers have continued to have success, 4th in pass defensive DVOA. So I like this matchup for the Chargers. I think the Chargers are due for a big bounce back. A lot of hope for this team early in the season. And then they've kind of faltered a couple weeks in a row. But Chargers are getting 80% of the money too. So the Sharps are with me on this. I'm laying the points. Chargers -1.5.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts is like the classic example of somebody who I think you mentioned in a previous stream that we did or podcast, like Matthew Stafford of years past being great for your fantasy team, but not as great in real life. Well, he was good, but, the team obviously suffered. Jalen Hurts is the same way because he just runs the ball so much that he's great for fantasy. He's like the ultimate fantasy player as far as quarterbacks go, but not as much with the real life team. And it's because of his play a lot of times too. I mean, they blew up the Lions last week, but it's the Lions, right? I mean, most of the Eagles' success was on the ground, 236 rushing yards. Granted, Hurts led the team with 71 rushing yards, so it's not like he didn't contribute. He contributed a lot. Still, he only threw 14 times, 9 of 14 for 103 yards and no touchdowns. Helping his cause, I think Michael Davis and Asante Samuel, though, they'll be out. They're hurt with the Chargers secondary. So the secondary is going to be beat up here. But they still have Derwin James in the secondary. They'll need Chris Harris to play much better, though, than he did against New England. And Tavall Campbell, he's going to need to step up, too. Could be an issue there for the Chargers. But honestly, this team still has Joey Bosa. They still have Jerry Tillery. And like I said, Derwin James in the secondary there. So they haven't been getting home to the quarterback, but they're 8th in hurry rate and 10th in pressure rate. So you would think there's some regression coming there as far as getting to the quarterback, even against a mobile quarterback like Jalen Hurts. Despite injuries right now, the unit is still 4th in pass DVOA on defense. You flip the sides. Just about everyone is healthy for the Eagles now. You mentioned the DVOAs that are against the run recently, though, but they can give up yards to the running backs in the receiving game. 6th most receiving yards allowed to opposing running backs. What is Austin Eckler? He's a receiving running back that he can run the ball too, but he's a receiving running back. They do get him the ball a lot in the passing game, and I would look at his props too. Where the Eagles, like, what it comes down to for me, I think the Chargers' offense is better. If you look closer at the games of the Eagles that have faced good offenses too, they've struggled defensively. 28 plus points allowed to each the Chiefs, Bucks, Cowboys, and Raiders. I'd put the Chargers closer to those teams offensively than the Falcons, Panthers, without CMC, the 49ers, and the Lions last week. So for me, I'm going with the Chargers here. I'm with you. I know it was a long explanation, but I'm on the Chargers.
No, that's love the analysis. All right, moving on to Packers at Chiefs. Chiefs laying 7, and the total here is 48. I can't wait to hear your take on this. This is the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. Do you think they can still hang?
I mean, let's be honest. Like, we might as well get right into it. I don't know if we're going to be touching the Aaron Rodgers subject from today, but it was pretty fucking hilarious, at least just a way to watch that whole thing unfold today. If you didn't get a kick out of what he said, like, I don't know where he's getting his medication from, maybe like some local animal hospital or something. But, at least the memes probably at least put you back on your seat because it was pretty funny. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. Whatever. He's not playing in this game, right? That's when it comes to this game, that's what we're talking about here. Yeah, although people were having a field day with that and I was getting a kick out of it. But the Packers will get a look at the potential future. And I'd say potential because, there's a real possibility that he doesn't pan out. And the Packers actually have to search for a quarterback real soon, like maybe next year, maybe the year after that. We don't know. Like, all this Jordan Love hype from at least Packers fans and all that, he wasn't a hot commodity when he was going into the draft. I mean, the Packers kind of it was a surprise pick in the first round, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers was a good pick when they made the Aaron Rodgers pick back in the day. That was a good pick. That was like a steal that late in the draft.
Certainly.
This was like, why'd you trade up for this guy and take him in the first round? I mean, it's just my opinion, but of course, he could turn out to be the next great Packers quarterback, like all the other Packers quarterbacks that seem to they success the other one, and they just turn into the next best thing, whatever. But I mean, and the Chiefs have not looked good, right? Like they're normal dominant team that we've been accustomed to seeing. They haven't been that this year. They've been struggling. Their offense is really struggling, though, too, to be honest. Turning the ball over, even against the Giants on that Monday night game. They only put up 20 points, and they didn't cover the spread. Mahomes threw another pick. Where was Travis Kelce? I mean, somebody like he was at a party the night before, some Halloween party or something. They popped open a pumpkin and he put it in his favorite juice, mixed in with a little extra. And I don't know, he was nowhere to be found. He was dropping balls too, that Cole Kmet would get ripped for. I'm just saying. Anyways, good news. Jordan Love making his first career start. You couldn't ask for a better position to be in than facing this team, to be honest.
Yep.
Offense and defense, or offense versus defense perspective, anyways. Not so much the offense on the other side because Mahomes is still good, I think. KC, second worst in DVOA on defense. Horrible against the run, horrible against the pass. I think Matt LaFleur, he leans on his running backs here. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, and the Packers keep this within a touchdown. So I don't want to do it. But if it fails, then I'm going to be laughing because Jordan Love probably sucks. So as a Bears fan anyway. So I'm taking the points, with the Packers.
Okay. I'm with you on that. So I tweeted early this week, right when the Aaron Rodgers news came out. I really thought that this line would just spike. And I thought I kind of assumed this line would go 8-9 points. It never did. I tweeted, wait for the public to increase this line and then jump on the Packers. I really wanted to take the Packers at 8-9. It never got there. I did find it at 7.5, and I put some money on the Packers to cover that. I still do like that. But my big play for this is actually the over. And I know it's weird because you've got a very questionable aspect in Jordan Love coming into this game. I actually think he's going to be okay this year or this game. You've got two defensive that have some serious holes. Kansas City, you mentioned it, 30th in the pass, 29th in the rush. Green Bay has been okay against the pass, but has really gotten gashed against the rush this year. So I think there's going to be actually more points than anticipated in this. The last three matchups between these two teams have gone over, and those overs have been somewhere between 45 and 50. So I'm going to take the over in this. I'm going to go over 48, but I also have money on Packers to cover 7.5 if you can find it.
All right. I like it. I will say this too. It doesn't seem like the total moved drastically down enough to the point where it's like there might be some sharp money on the over too. So yeah. There is. That
was kind of what drew my eye to it. There's definitely some sharp money there. All right, moving on to Cardinals at 49ers. My Niners laying 2.5 at home this week. The over-under is 45. Arizona last week lost their undefeated streak and 24-21 lost to Green Bay. But I'd love to talk about all the aspects of these two teams. Unfortunately, the story going into this game is a lot about injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona's offense, you've got DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray, both questionable. I've been watching this pretty closely. It looks like they were limited in practice today again. Still both questionable. Neither has been ruled out for the game. But it's something I'm watching closely. On the Arizona's defense, you've still got J.J. Watt and their safety James Wiggins that are ruled out. Then you've got a defensive tackle in Rashard Lawrence who's questionable. So that's scary. On the San Francisco side, Elijah Mitchell, who went off last week against the Bears, had an incredible game. Serious, very, very good awareness running the ball. The guy was just going off. But more importantly, Deebo Samuel is also questionable. He didn't practice today. So, like, on both sides of the ball, I'm sitting here going, Joey, where the fuck is the offense going to come from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if Arizona doesn't have Kyler Murray or DeAndre Hopkins. And if Deebo Samuel doesn't play this game, who the fuck is Garoppolo going to throw the ball to? I think Arizona's remaining receivers that are left are better than the 49ers, but this could literally be Colt McCoy throwing them the ball.
Yeah.
The 49ers, when you look at them, I love this next man up mentality in the rush game. I mean, third in rush DVOA this year, and they've gone through a litany of injuries in the backfield. You've still got Trey Sermon. You've still got JaMychal Hasty back there. I like it, but Arizona top 10 in defending the rush. I want to take my 49ers so bad this week, Joey. I just can't bring myself to do it. Ultimately, I think there's going to be a serious lack of offense in this game. I'm going the under 45. I think this is going to be a pretty fucking boring game, to be honest with you.
It could turn out that way. And I will say this. Number one, I'm sorry to talk while you were going over the game, but I didn't know that they had practiced even at all today with Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. I thought they were DNPs all week, did not practice all week. So that, I don't know if that signals anything. I know that Cliff Kingsbury was saying that they were progressing or that Murray was progressing. What does that mean, though? Because it sounds like from a lot of reports that he's got a real good shot of missing this game. So, like you said, Colt McCoy throwing passes. I know he's an experienced veteran, but what does that mean, against the Niners who, I know Fields had his best game of probably the year last week, which it still didn't pull out the win because the defense was terrible against the Niners. By the way, I don't know what we even bet on, what we agreed to last week, but congratulations, your Niners pulled it off.
I took the under, and it was done in the third quarter, so I just enjoyed the game.
But either way, I know we were supposed to have like a friendly water bet with the Bears, whoever won the game, but
yeah, it's all good.
You guys took it. Give you credit on that. I just think, also, too, offensive lineman Max Garcia is also questionable for the Cardinals. So that's kind of big. I don't know. It's not an ideal situation, though, for Colt McCoy to step in here against, and on the road, a divisional opponent. The Packers were just able to beat the Cardinals on a short week without really any of their wide receivers. No Devontae Adams. I mean, they had nobody. No MVS. No Lazard. I mean, it was brutal. So I'm going to go with your Niners here. I think I'm going to grab this number now before it gets to 3, because I think once the announcement comes, if it comes, that Colt McCoy is playing, this number is only going to move in one direction. So I think I'm going to grab it before it gets to 3, and I'll go with your Niners here.
Yeah, I'll take it. I just I'm watching Deebo closely because that is kind of the linchpin. That's the linchpin of this team right now, and without him, they would not have won last week. I mean, that 83-yard scramble helped by some shitty Chicago tackling and defense.
Fucking horrible. And no safety help, and also no Eddie Jackson out there. But we're not going to make excuses because that would happen. And the Niners won, and they killed them. So
no.
It was a very winnable game, though. That's all I'm going to say.
100%.
It's a good game.
All right, we got the Sunday night football game. Titans at Rams. Rams laying 7 on here. This is actually makes me sad. I'm a 49er fan. I don't cheer for other teams, but I have thoroughly enjoyed watching Derrick Henry this year, last year. I mean, this guy was an absolute fucking monster. Thoroughly enjoyed watching him. This is going to be the Titans without Derrick Henry for the first time. I'm sorry, but Derrick Henry was this offense, Joey. Yeah. I mean, as I started prepping for this week and researching, I'm sitting here going, well, maybe there's a chance Henry's success was due to an outstanding offensive line. That's not the case. This offensive line, when you take Henry out of it, is 19th in the league in stuff rate. And that is at the line measured. How much are these guys getting pushed back? How much are they getting stuffed? 19th in the league is not good. That tells me that the success that the Titans have had to date has really been Derrick Henry. And then, so what are they going to do this week? They're going to try to pass the ball. Tennessee 18th in the league in pass DVOA per Football Outsiders. It's not good. This offensive line is the fourth highest adjusted sack rate in the league. It's going to be rough going. I think you have a Tennessee team this week that's going to be depleted. I think they know that their Super Bowl hopes are over. I think they can still win this division and sneak their way into the playoffs, but they're not going much further than first round. Rams at home against the 20th ranked DVOA in the league in terms of defense. Give me the Rams, lay the points. Pretty easy.
All right, so I will say this. I agree 100% with everything you said. Number one, Henry is the most fun running back to watch because he just stiff arms the hell out of people and bulldozes everybody. And then when his big hit frame gets moving in open space, it's so fun to watch because it's like you didn't think a big dude like that could run that fast, and he does. And it's just real fun to watch. I will say this, though. A running back, what would you – I don't want to put you on the spot here, but before I go into kind of my deeper thoughts about this game, what would you have made this spread if Henry – and I know it's probably a lot to digest or think about, and you could take a second if you need to. What would you have made this spread if Henry was active and playing? What do you think, anyways?
I think I still would have taken the Rams at home, but I think this would have been a great game. 2.5, 3 points, maybe. Rams
minus 2.5, minus 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. See, so I guess it comes down to, for me, is how much do you think Henry is worth to the spread? And there's really no quantifying that. We're not going to know until we see the game, right? We're not going to know until we see how it plays out without Derrick Henry. No one will know. What I think is that this game should really be probably Rams minus 4. That's what my gut tells me, is it should be maybe a 2-point swing, 3-point swing, maybe Rams minus 5.5, and minus 7 is maybe a little bit too much. But we're talking without Henry. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here. And I did not do what I did with college football. I did not do a consensus power ratings and check all these different power ratings and then go I do my own power ratings, and I don't do consensus. Take 5 different power ratings and then do an average, and then do research too on top of that. With football or NFL, I do my own. What I would have said for this game was that's probably where I would have been at, was minus 4.5 for the Rams, or minus 5.5 even. I would have been okay with that. I think 7 is a little much, and we're talking about really it's not really that much of a difference, but because how you talk about you get your points, you're getting it with field goals, you're getting it with touchdowns. So if you're talking about 4.5, 5.5, and then you're going to 7, it's really an in-between weird number, right? That's just an odd number.
Yeah.
It doesn't land on 5.5 very often. It doesn't land on 4.5 or 4 or 5 very often. 4s, yes. 5s, no. So anyways, I guess my worry is here that the Rams are coming into this game kind of on cruise control. I think because they faced the Seahawks, when they lost Russell Wilson mid-game, they faced the Giants, they faced the Lions, they faced the Texans last week. Not a tough stretch of opponents, right? And for them, they're also looking at this kind of like we are. They don't have Derrick Henry. They're a little bit beat up, possibly. Tannehill's good enough, I think, even without King Henry. But how much will the lack of running game affect his passing game too, right? There's no play action you can run off of that. You can. They will probably try it, but it hurts. It hurts. You're not getting that production on the ground. How much is it going to be a factor, though, for his passing game? I don't know. I think the Titans cover the spread, but it's not my favorite play of this game.
Yeah.
I like Darrell Henderson over 16.5 receiving yards. Most books have it at 17.5. I still like that, but I found 16.5. I think he gets at least 20 in this game. So I'd play it up to 19.5. He averages 3.4 targets per game and has hit at least 17 receiving yards in 6 of the 7 games that he's played this season. The Titans allow 40 yards receiving per game to opposing running backs. So I think he gets 20, and that's not too much to ask here in this spot. So that's my main play, but I'm also on the Titans here, and it doesn't feel great without Henry. I'll tell you that.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap it up. We got Monday Night Football. The Bears, your Bears.
Let's do it.
Going to Pittsburgh to the Steelers. Steelers are laying 6.5 on this one. The over-under is 39. I want to hear your thoughts first.
Yeah, so Matt Nagy returns. Yay!
Sarcasm.
Huh?
Sarcasm.
No, yeah, it's a lot of sarcasm. Dude, what is he doing, man? Just stay away. But, I mean, they played the best offensive game, in my opinion, at least for Fields, without him. You know, defense has had troubles both stopping the run lately and against the passing game. Eddie Jackson obviously left the game. Miscommunications in the secondary, it feels like, with the safeties. I don't know what's going on. Fortunately for the Bears, Ben Roethlisberger, he checks the ball down a lot. His football clock, so to speak, is about to run out. Near the bottom in average intended air yards and second fewest average air yards completed. The only quarterback behind him, lower mark, is Jared Goff. So looking at the yards per game passing, somehow the Steelers are 17th and not closer to the bottom. I don't get it. But they do have some yak guys, yards after the catch guys like Chase Claypool, and they use Najee Harris in the passing game a lot. So they have weapons on offense. Defensively, they stop the run well, 6th in rush DVOA, average versus the pass, 15th in DVOA. Could be looking like a game where Fields is going to have to make a lot happen, especially in the passing game, because even with David Montgomery potentially coming back, who knows if they want to rest him a little bit longer on IR, but he did come back to practice this week. They could have a nice 1-2 punch with him and Khalil Herbert whenever he returns, if it's this week or not. Eddie Jackson and Khalil Mack, though, we don't know. Like, they haven't practiced all week, so that worries me, at least as of recording this. Hopefully Matt Nagy, the return factor, doesn't mean it's back to the horrible offense that we've been accustomed to under him. So, I don't know. I just think the Bears are going to keep it close. I thought this last week and it didn't happen, but it felt like it was a better game than what the score actually turned out to be.
100%.
So, plus 6.5. The big thing here, so I'm taking the Bears plus 6.5. The big thing here with me, though, what I'm really watching for is how Fields handles a primetime game, Monday night game. I thought he was really decisive last week, and he made some incredible plays like running the ball. That one that he rushed for a touchdown. Obviously, that was insane.
Yeah. Nice
throws. I'm really watching to see how he plays in this primetime game as a Bears fan, but I do think the Bears cover this spread. What do you think, man?
No, I'm with you. It's probably bad for you that we're both taking your Bears. That defense.
No, it makes me feel better, though. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, that defense looked bad last week. But you know what? I was really impressed as a 49er fan watching the Bears up against my Niners. I was impressed with what I saw. And, I become friends with so many Chicago fans that, in the back of my head, I'm kind of wanting to see Justin Fields do good, right? And they took a major step last week. Like he looks so much better moving the ball on the ground. I am concerned about some of these injuries. You could see last week the difference between when Eddie Jackson was in the game and when he was out, and just that the comfort level on defense and the coverage. They're going to be without him this week. Khalil Mack again. Alec Ogletree didn't practice today either. So, I mean, there's some concerns there. You know, Darnell Mooney appeared to be limited in practice today, but I'm not super concerned about that. I don't know. You know, the Steelers defense or the Steelers offense just does nothing to impress me. You know, they've been stagnant. 26th in points scored this year, 17th in passing, 28th in rushing. I think the Bears defense will recover from what they did last year. I hate this line. I really don't like it, but I'll tell you what the Bears did.
I want to get that 7.
I know. If this was 7, I would feel so much better. But in the end, what the Bears offense did against the 49ers last week, especially in the run, impressed me. I actually really think Pittsburgh's defense is very similar to San Francisco's. So I think I think Chicago is going to have success again this week. I'll take the points, 6.5, no problem. I'd feel better if it was 7, but I'll take it at 6.5.
I feel like your dog might have liked that too, because I feel like I heard him like shaking in the background.
You certainly did. Actually, she came down the steps, and right when I was talking about it, she shook and went back upstairs.
I know that sound. Like it's like, you know, it's like when they're wet outside or something, and they come in and they just you gotta like shake it all out. Like that was you with that pick right there. Like shake out the cobwebs. Bears are covering.
Yep, so, absolutely.
I love it, man. I love it. What do you think? I know we're probably going after this. Did you have any honorable mentions?
So I don't, but I want to hear yours. I know you have some honorable mentions, at least in the college.
You were supposed to, though. I'll just say that.
Was I? Tell me.
I thought you were. Tell us about last week. I thought you said this is I'm doing honorable mentions now because
oh fuck, I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
The bad juju. No, don't apologize to me. I thought it was your own thing.
Yeah. Next week I'll have honorable mentions, I promise.
Well, I don't care. I just want your bets to win.
I forgot about that.
For your own personal, I want your bets to win. So now
I totally forgot about my honorable mentions.
That means it doesn't mean anything.
Promise.
There's no curse. That means it doesn't mean anything.
That's
so
true.
Anyways, I only have one game, and it's
I like Dallas -10 against the Broncos.
There we go.
I was impressed. I was impressed with what I saw from Dallas last week.
That'll work. That'll do. Mine's in college. So that means you are going to win this week, though, by the way. Let me just say that. Okay. You are going to win this week. I mean, not that you didn't win at anything, but, like, I know you were, like, talking to me during the college games. You're like, I got to have some honorable mentions this week because this is bullshit.
Yeah, it's true.
So mine is Clemson. Basically, what I came out with was that the line should be really -7. They were just -9.5 against Florida State the week before. And I think this Louisville team, they're taking on Louisville, traveling to Louisville. Louisville's defense isn't as good as Clemson's. I mean, Louisville just lost another starting defensive player, all ACC cornerback. They already are without starters, starting linebacker, starting wide receiver. Louisville's offense ranks similarly to Florida State, who Clemson just beat, but their defense is worse. Louisville, 30.6 points per game allowed, 59th in DF plus compared to 42nd for Florida State. I don't know if like DJ, if this is like going to be the game where he really puts it all together, figures it out, plays up to his potential that everybody thought coming into the season. But I think like with Will Shipley running it well, 128 last week and 2 touchdowns. Clemson team is a little bit too much for Louisville. So that was a terrible beat last week. Like, that's criminal, right? I was on Florida State. We didn't talk about it, I don't think.
Right.
I was on Florida State. I know Cody was on Florida State. We were talking about that. Just horrible. Like, last play of the game, you just thought it was an automatic cover for Florida State. And then that last play was even talked about by Scott Van Pelt on the Bad Beats ESPN SportsCenter edition or whatever. But I like Clemson here minus, I forget what they are, but -4, I think. I already bet that. I bet them at -4.
Love it.
That is all I got for honorable mentions, my friend.
You know what? I got one honorable mention. And I'm gonna go way off the walls here. I'm gonna move away from football. I'm gonna go to horse racing. Joey, we talked about this before, and I kind of wasn't planning on doing this. But this week is a big horse race, and you have, oh my God, Knicks Go. Knicks Go is racing this weekend at Del Mar. Bet on that horse. That's my bet. That's my lock. Go for it. Knicks Go.
All right. I'm telling you. Listen, I don't know shit about horse racing. So what you tell me to do, I'm putting in the bet slip. Because I have no idea what's going on. But I'm with you. I'm riding with you.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Joey, this
Salud, my friend.
Do you have any of our bets you want to throw out as a lock this week?
Yeah, I guess I'll start in college, I guess. So the two games we went over, I really like, obviously, and I like that Clemson game. Or the two games that, and we talked about the one that we discussed together, the A&M and the Auburn game. But I really like the under in the UTSA and UTEP game, because I think these two teams they stop the run pretty decently, and they both run the ball a ton. So I love UTSA as far as laying the points, but that's going to be my college lock. I'm going to take the under in that game.
Okay. My college lock is Michigan State -3 against Purdue. I was so impressed with what I saw last week from Kenneth Walker III against Michigan, against a really stout Michigan defense. I don't think Purdue stands a chance. So that's my college lock.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm betting that too.
You got an NFL one?
NFL, I am going the Chargers. -1.5. I hope you didn't have that as well, but
that would have been one. But you know what? I'm actually, and I hate when I have a lock that's opposite of yours, but I like Cleveland plus the points this week. I really do. Yeah. I think Baker and Njoku, they're gonna have fucking connections up the ass, and I think they're gonna give this Cincinnati team some trouble, and I'm not sure how Cincinnati's gonna score back. So I'll take Cleveland plus the points as my lock.
I don't mind that at all. Like that actually makes me. I'm probably not going to bet the Bengals now, because they weren't one of my like real strong convictions, but I had them as like I do like that side. So if you feel real strongly about it, I'm probably not going to bet the Bengals, because obviously my bet in that game was Landry, but that's a good one, man. That's not, obviously you got two good teams going at it, and like it makes you wonder, are the Bengals really for real, or did they get off to a really hot start,
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Knicks Go in the Breeders' Cup. That's my lock. 5-2 odds on favorite. Easy. Let's do it. Joey, this has been real. Kind of a drunken affair, to be honest with you. My martini is gone. But hey, buddy, I feel good about these bets. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to this After Dark On Tap Bets. You can always follow us at On Tap Bets. You can follow our parent account at On Tap Sportsnet. You can follow Joey at The Riot 326, and you can follow me at Iowa Zach. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Cheers. Happy betting.
And good luck. Hopefully you're as drunk as we are.